Hey everyone, it's Janalee
and Christa.
JC! Today we're going to talk to you guys about transitioning from high school to college and also living alone for the first time. Christa, you moved out here from California to go to school. What were some of the struggles that you faced when you first got here?
Some of the struggles that I went through were basically just kind of not having the same support system that I had when I was home with all my friends that I've been going to school with for 8-9 years, and my family and my sister and my twin and I got really close, especially near the end of high school, so it was really hard not ever being, sharing anything with her anymore. And so it was just kind of hard making new friends. And then my freshman year, that's when I found out that I had severe depression. So it wasn't even just, it was minor, it was severe. So I didn't really know how to handle it. So that's when I kind of lost it. And that's when I started not going to class. So it was pretty rough, and not really having any friends to fall back on was really tough. And so I have to say that being lonely especially was an issue.
That's really rough. But you've made some friends over the last couple of years, and you've come past that. Also, though, I know after your first year, you moved out on your own into your own apartment. What were some new struggles that came with that aspect of your life?
Yeah, well, cooking. I learned I couldn't cook. It looked really easy when I looked up how to cook it on the internet. People were cooking it right there in front of me, and it looked so simple, but I just burn everything. So at some point, I had to actually start learning how to cook, and, learning how to actually feed myself healthy food was a real issue too. And then also, just living alone as a young woman was really creepy. I had a lot of neighbors that kind of came off kind of creepy to me, so that's when I got my hammer named Hubert, who I keep underneath my bed so that, if anyone strange comes into my apartment at night, I can, take out the hammer and pow! Well, at least that's how it goes in my head. And then that's when I also got my cat too, because I got really lonely living alone as well. Yeah. So that was an issue.
Well, everyone should have a Hubert, I believe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Janalee, what were some of the struggles that came with living alone your freshman year?
Some things that were really hard is I'm not from the Boise area. I'm from Idaho Falls, and I only know 2 or 3 people from my high school that came out to school here, and we weren't super close, so it was really hard making friends because I didn't live in the dorms where you're constantly around people. Mm-hmm. That was really tough, but I have clinically diagnosed anxiety, so living on campus would have been a really big struggle for me. So that making friends outside of the classroom, I made academic friends where we could work on homework together, but there wasn't a lot of hanging out outside of the classroom. That was really difficult. And then also just learning how to do a lot of things that I thought that I knew how to do, but I didn't know how to do. To pay bills was really hard. Or even simple things you're not feeling well, but at what point do you go to the doctor, because you're not feeling so well. So I had to call my mom a lot. She bless her soul. And yes, I totally understand the living alone is terrifying. I have a dog. His name is Winston. He keeps me company, not only lonely, but he was also kind of my security alarm system.
Oh, well, that's good. And I know that as a freshman, a lot of people enjoy being in the dorms to make friends. So do you ever wish that, regardless of your anxiety that might have made things harder on you, do you ever wish that you had actually tried to live in the dorms, even for a short period of time?
Every once in a while, during the first semester particularly, I kind of wish I had lived in the dorms just so I would have those friends that I don't currently possess from that situation. Mm-hmm. But overall, I look at it, and my experience is I've grown so much more as an individual because I've lived on my own, and I've learned how to cope and everything. And also, I've been able to grow a relationship with my dog, Winston, so that's helped me a lot. And it's also taught me how to put myself out there more outside of my comfort zone to make friends, to make that special effort.
Okay. And were there any other struggles in particular after that, after you got after you got over that and were diagnosed with anxiety and, you started, like, taking medication for that, like, were there any new struggles after that?
One thing, okay, this is probably really silly, but one thing that's actually really hard to do is to stay on top of that medication, and to, even though the medication helps with my anxiety, it's still really, really big struggle. So being in large groups helps. So that is one thing that's nice about being able to come home and just, college is stressful, and I also work part-time. So trying to juggle all those things were really rough. But overall, it's been a good experience. So Christa, we've been in this mind games class together. What are some of the things that you've learned, whether it's through the reading or your own research, that has helped you to grow from your personal struggles?
Well, I definitely had to learn. I kind of started this a little bit earlier, especially last year when I kind of took a year to further learn about myself. I also learned in this class at the beginning when we're reading Become a Learner. I learned a lot about not always being so hard on myself, because college isn't always for getting all A's in all your classes and, like, memorizing textbooks, because we're not all good at that, and
Yeah.
I'm better in the area of social awareness. Like, I'm more of a wiser person outside of the academic area.
Definitely.
So definitely knowing that college isn't totally meant for getting A's and, like, going to school, it made me kind of, like, open up to the idea that, maybe, like, college isn't just here to stress us out and test us, and it's also here to put us in situations socially to, like, kind of become wiser in areas where we go out and maybe getting a job, and, like, learning how to communicate with others is really important.
And building you more as a well-rounded person outside of the academic sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
I totally agree with that. Well, some of the things, I completely agree with everything you said, and some of the other things that I've kind of picked up from the readings of this mind games course is, that becoming a learner, that you have to learn how to do so many new things that you weren't used to in high school to transition into college, such as, making your own study time, setting that time aside, because college professors, like, you pass, it's up to you, you know what I mean? So that was something that I had to learn how to do, and then I also just had to learn, how to do some old things new ways. Like, I had to learn new ways to study. I studied in high school, but I had to learn new ways here in order to succeed. And I also learned that I have to have a growth mindset. I can't just have that fixed mindset from DWEC where, this is the way I want it to be. I'm only as good as my test scores. I'm only, because that's a really big thing that they stress in, especially in public high schools, that you're only as good as your test scores. And I had to learn through that growth mindset that I'm more than a test score, that the learning along the way is what really makes me a full, well-rounded person. And it's okay to fail at things, because I can just try again later and work to be better. Like, there's a fixed mindset is there's like there's a destination, you can only get there, and a growth mindset is you can always continue to learn. And that was really helpful in making the transition of living alone and going to school all my first year.
That's actually exactly what, so after my freshman year, I went on academic probation, and although I really hate admitting this, and I don't really tell many people this because I'm actually really disappointed in myself, I was actually kicked out of BSU for a semester because my grades were so bad my freshman year. Partially just because I didn't go, and partially because my depression was so bad that I just withdrew from everything. But that's pretty much what got me back here. Like, I needed to get that growth mindset so that I could come back, and I really wanted to prove that I could do better. And so that's what I'm back here for. I want to, like, I have more of a growth mindset now that I've understood what it takes to get there, and just being open with things and knowing that my grades aren't who I am.
Yeah.
Because that really got me down, knowing that I did that awful.
Absolutely. Well, that's fabulous. I think we've learned a lot of things. 80% of people that live on their own are more likely to have depression, and like we've talked about, getting in classes that interest you and get you in other groups are really great ways to cope with that. So I hope everyone has enjoyed what we've talked about. I hope that helps you in some way. This is JC, and we out.